Hello everyone. So today I want to reintroduce you guys to a product that we tested out a couple of years ago on Tim's Model 3 and Model Y. And today we actually have a client coming in to have these BC Racing BR Series coilovers installed on his vehicle. With Tim's car, we did a review comparing this to another product that just entered the market. And in that situation, the other product did seem to be more comfortable, but I want to remind you guys, and the reason I want to do this again is that Tim's car is really set up for track duty. So he's got bearings in the car. There's just a lot of other variables on the car, stripped interior, that may have contributed. We didn't have an opportunity to really play with the damping. We kind of left it where Tim had set it. And again, he had one of the very first production units. At that time, BC Racing had not done a revision to their upper spring perch, where now they actually include a thrust bearing. We did produce a video on how to retrofit that thrust bearing if you wanted to update your older coilovers from BC Racing for your Model 3 to the newer design. So we'll put a link to that video up here. And I will show you that that bearing does come included in all of their coilovers now. The BC Racing BR Series coilover is a monotube damper. It is also 30-way adjustable, so it simultaneously adjusts rebound and compression, and like most other single adjustable shocks, it does more adjustment to the rebound valving than it will to the compression. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and open the product up. Their packaging is great. These come double box. I actually removed the external box from it, but you can see how well they pack these things. These shocks are also rebuildable, so that's a huge bonus. If you want to custom valve them, we can do that. There might be limitations on spring rates because of the unique shape of the OEM rear spring and the BC Racing spring, which uses the OEM lower spring perch, lower spring arm. So we've got the rear spring here, 1 and 2. I mean, really well packed. I really can't say more good things about how well they pack this kit. It's front damper. Another front damper. Another big bonus to this product, it is currently $11.95 shipped plus tax if that applies to you. If it is not in stock, they get this product out to you within about 4 to 6 weeks. So it will get air shipped to you in that period of time, which is pretty amazing. So you don't have to wait a long time. They do have the DS series coilover, which is a digressively valved coilover. If those of you understand what digressive valving is, that is kind of like the thing that a lot of people want. So we can special order that. Pending our results here, we may just start inventorying some of those as well. So huge value to this. I will go ahead and open this up for you. So let's show you guys the rear shocks, and then I will also show you guys kind of some things to check before you install these dampers. You'll want to look at a couple of things. I think BC is pretty good about setting things up consistently, but we're going to find that out right now. Okay, now they do come with their own upper mount, but in the rear, as you can see, you do need to retrofit the factory upper mount to this. All right. And the nice thing about this is the rebound adjuster does sit below the chassis. So you can literally just jack up the back of the car on one side, get your hand in here and adjust the damping. All right. So all right, so you got your rear dampers, you got your fronts, got your rear springs. We'll open these babies up. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to check all of the adjusters, the clicks on them, just to make sure there's nothing that's stuck, that they all move easily. So I do that, or we do that, before every single install. We will also check the spring preloads on the front dampers to make sure that those are consistent. BC Racing does have some instructions on how much preload they would want on their springs. I think most companies want, 2 to 3 millimeters of preload for a setup like this, a setup where the spring preload is basically independent of the height adjustment. So this, as well as some of the other kind of non-European coilovers, Öhlins aside, will have independent preload and ride height adjustment. So in order to adjust height, you do not adjust the preload here to raise the car like an older style coilover or a European coilover. You will adjust the height here. So you'll loosen this collar and then you'll rotate this lower bracket to lengthen the shock or to shorten it. And that's how you'll adjust your height on the front. So we're going to check all that. One of the benefits of purchasing from us is that we will help guide you on some of the initial settings to get you close to your desired ride height. So, there's obviously going to be a tolerance involved, but we will send you guys information on your preloads, how much space you want here based on the data we have collected. And we'll share that with you so that if you guys are doing a DIY, that when you install it, you'll be really close to your desired ride height. You won't be going back and forth, removing wheels. Hopefully we'll hit it really close to on the money. Just keep in mind that you will have the suspension. It will settle. So you'll probably need to adjust the height again after a few months or a couple thousand miles. So yeah, we'll basically tell you guys to put a caliper in here. We'll give you a measurement on that to hopefully get you close to your desired ride height. And then we'll do the same for the rear spring too. So you have a threaded spring perch here. We'll give you a measurement with a caliper you can use to set this height to get to your desired ride height. Most of our data right now is on the Model 3. We will probably bring a Model Y in to test these out on the Model Y. These do have a pretty large height adjustment range. So, a big problem with Model Y is a lot of times you can't get suspension that will allow that Model Y to get low enough. The BCs can. They can get pretty dang low, lower than I would want to put on a Model Y, to be honest. So you have a lot of range there. Okay, so we've discussed that. So like I said, first things I like to do is just turn all these adjustment knobs. I'll turn them all to full stiff. In this case, that's clockwise, righty-tighty. The rear damper, it does have, you won't be able to see this in the camera, but there's an H and an S for hard and soft. I'm not sure if you can see this or not. But we'll turn this all the way to the hardest setting, go all the way hard. And I'll just go in and basically count the clicks just to make sure we have 30. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're good. So, and I'll do that for all of these as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get these on the car. I'm going to set up the dampers right now. So we're going to basically go in, we're going to measure the preloads just to make sure these preloads are consistent. It does tell you the spring length on here. So right here, it'll tell you right here, this is a 235 millimeter long spring. And we'll go ahead and we'll measure the full length of the spring. And it does have 2 millimeters of preload. So the actual spring itself is compressed to 232 millimeters. I will check this one again, and this one also is consistent. So thumbs up on that one, BC. Thank you. Once we install these, we'll go ahead and we'll actually knock all of these collars down. You do have your spanner wrenches, so you can put these on there and hit it with a mallet. I still like to use a punch to get in here to make sure they stay really good and tight. And yeah, without further ado, let's get these on the car. Once they're on the car, we're going to go for a test drive. I'm going to set up the dampers, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on how well this thing rides. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. If you guys are interested in this product after this review, we'll put a link in the description below to our website. Benefit of buying from us is that we will help guide you with installation, with setup. We'll make it an educational and a seamless process. If you guys have not checked out our Patreon account, please do so. It's patreon.com/ZevCentric. We only have one membership right now. It's only $5 a month. We will appreciate your support. It helps us produce these videos, bring in these products, test them, and share that information with you guys. All right, BCs are in. This client wanted it to be pretty much as low as he could go. He's got some TEs on the car, and he just is used to having slammed cars. So we did set it to pretty much the lowest setting we can get before it's been settled. We're looking at about a 40 millimeter drop. So just so you guys know, we got about a 40 millimeter drop on a performance Model 3. So on a long range, it might be 50 millimeters. So we're gonna go ahead and take this thing for a test drive. Because we did lower it as much as we did. We did set up the damping a little bit stiffer. So right now he's about a third from full stiff. So he's about 10 in the front and about 12 in the back from stiff. So we're gonna go ahead and test drive this and see how it rides. I did test drive it before we aligned it, but now we're gonna do the final result. The car's all aligned. So these BCs do have the revision to them where they have a thrust bearing that resides above the front spring, which will basically mitigate some of the spring bind noises we've had on these vehicles. It's just something that plagues all of our Model 3s and Ys with a lot of aftermarket coilover suspension systems. Companies like Mountain Pass and KW have made a revision to the way that their spring interfaces the adjustable collars, and they've been able to eliminate that noise. Other companies have done things like what BC has done with the thrust bearing to resolve that problem. So just initially, I mean, it doesn't ride bad at all, and I know it can be a lot softer. So it is damped pretty well. This car only has the Mountain Pass rear camber arms. Everything else is stock. So no upgraded control arm, bearings, bushings, anything like that. It's about as basic of an upgrade as you can do in terms of suspension. And so this is going to be very indicative of what 90% of the customer base is going to want, just camber arms and coilovers. So we're going to see how this thing does on some turns and then some rough patches of road on the way back to the office. One thing I will say is that the damping range does seem like it can get stiffer than, say, like the Tane Flex Z coilovers, and it can also get equally as soft. So we kind of set this up right now to where Tim's car was set up at one point, just to see if his car does ride more firm than this. Now this car does have Yokohama tires on it. They're the Apex V601s, and he did go for a slightly shorter tire diameter, so his sidewall profile is a little bit shorter than factory. This is a 255/35 19-inch tire. Ideally we would do a 265/35 19 or even a 275/35 19, which is what I've got on mine. But these V601s I do believe also have a slightly stiffer sidewall to them than some of the other tires that we use. So depending on what you get, tire size wise, sidewall heights and everything, you may actually be able to improve the ride quality more than what we're testing right now. All right, let's see this thing turn. All right, so we've been going over some rough roads. It resolves well. You know, it's not like it's going through a lot of oscillations. It is set a little bit on the firmer side, but I don't think it's intolerable. I do know that these can definitely get a lot softer, but because it is set so low, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't set too soft. But I would say if I was going to ever take an affordable coilover like these, like sub 1,200 bucks, or something in that price point, and I wanted to track with it, I would definitely choose these BCs. I don't think the Tane Flex Z coilovers will be able to perform as well as these. In fact, we have another buddy of ours who does track his Model 3. He's a very seasoned driver. We've spoken about him before. That's our buddy who races a spec Boxster, and he puts all his money into that thing, so he don't want to spend a lot of money on coilovers for his Model 3, so he opted to get some BCs, and he does track that thing with us, and he runs some really good times. But again, he's a real seasoned guy. We have some guys who run Flex Zs, and I think they're just on the softer side, even when you stiffen up the damping. And again, that's a twin tube shock where these are monotubes. So the thing handles good. It turns, it stays flat. I mean, it doesn't have any upgraded sway bars or anything like that. So that's pretty nice. I think if it was me, I would set this up a little softer than this. I think for when we initially installed these on Tim's Model 3, we set it up kind of on the other end of the spectrum. So let's say he's a third from the stiffest setting. We were initially, I think, at a third from the softest setting originally, but for some reason, I don't recall why, but he opted to just gradually stiffen it up more and more and more, and this is where he ended up. Nice, freshly paved road. Handles good, stays flat. One thing I think you'll have to worry about is if you hit a big bump, you might scrape the bumper, your jack point, side skirts, something may scrape. All right, let's go. This is the test right here. Not bad. I know if we just set this thing to the softest setting, it'd probably just flow right over that stuff too. All right, guys, there you have it. It's done. This is the lowest setting. BC's, this is a slightly shorter tire than stock, so not even a 1 finger gap. If you had the right tire diameter, you wouldn't even be able to put a finger in there. So now you guys know exactly what the lowest drop is with the revised BC Racing coilovers. And yeah, it rode pretty decently. I mean, we have the damping set a little on the stiffer side. I thought it'd be a lot rougher than that. If you guys set this thing up to the softer end, like maybe 18 to 20 clicks from full stiff, it's gonna ride like butter. It's just gonna float. And there you go, guys. This is it. BC's, biggest drop you can get on them. Appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you guys are interested in this, check out the description and the link below. These coilovers do have the updated thrust bearing on them, so that spring won't make noise like some of these other coilovers. That's a good bonus. 30-way adjustable. Catch you on the next one.